Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once observed, "The key is to keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This profound advice resonates across ages, offering timeless wisdom for navigating relationships and human interactions. You've likely come across the popular saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." While this principle is often applied in personal development, today we'll dive deeper into this concept from a Stoic perspective. We'll explore the subtle yet impactful ways certain relationships can steer us away from our path to virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. By examining 10 types of people that can hinder your Stoic progress, we aim to provide practical strategies for managing these interactions, all while staying true to Stoic principles. Before we proceed, a small favor: if you find value in this content, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. By doing so, you help in spreading Stoic philosophy and its powerful teachings. Let's get started. Avoid number 1, the complainer. We all know someone who seems to carry a cloud of dissatisfaction wherever they go. They're the friend, co-worker, or family member who finds fault in nearly everything, whether it's the weather, their job, or even a delicious meal at a favorite restaurant. Nothing seems to escape their criticism. While you may think, "I can simply ignore them," the reality is more complex. Constant exposure to such negativity is like enduring a slow, steady leak that gradually drains your emotional reserves. It's an erosion of your mental well-being, subtly influencing your thoughts and outlook. Stoicism teaches us that the energy we invest should be directed toward solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Let's say you're working on a collaborative project, and one of your team members is a habitual complainer. Every meeting feels like an endurance test of pessimism. Complaints abound, yet constructive solutions are absent. Over time, this attitude not only dampens the team's morale, but also derails progress. Your focus shifts from finding solutions to managing frustration and negativity. The Stoic approach emphasizes maintaining your inner tranquility, even amidst external turmoil. In this scenario, there are a few strategies you can employ. 1. Limit your exposure. Whenever possible, reduce the time you spend around chronic complainers. If avoiding them entirely isn't feasible, perhaps due to familial or work relationships, your next best option is mental distancing. 2. Mental distancing. This involves training your mind to treat their complaints as mere background noise. Think of their negativity as a storm passing overhead. It may be loud and unsettling, but ultimately, it's powerless against the immovable fortress of your inner calm. 3. Steer conversations toward constructiveness. Instead of allowing the conversation to dwell in complaint territory, redirect it toward actionable ideas. Shift the dialogue from identifying problems to discussing possible solutions. Remember the wise words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote encapsulates the Stoic mindset of focusing on what's within your control and letting go of what isn't. Chronic complainers feed off attention and validation. By refusing to engage with their negativity, you guard your peace, staying aligned with your Stoic values of resilience, action, and virtue. Avoid number 2, the drama magnet. Picture your life as a ship gliding smoothly through calm waters. Everything seems to be in balance until, suddenly, you encounter a whirlpool, the person we refer to as the drama magnet. This individual thrives on chaos. There's always some crisis, controversy, or conflict brewing around them, and like a whirlpool, they have a knack for dragging others into their vortex of turmoil. At first glance, their intensity might seem like passion or excitement, but you quickly realize that maintaining a friendship with a drama magnet is like navigating stormy seas. Their constant need for attention, emotional highs, and perpetual conflicts leave you feeling drained and destabilized. The most insidious aspect is how their crises start to feel like your own. Their emotional turbulence becomes infectious, pulling you into disputes and dramas that were never yours to begin with. Imagine a friend who constantly falls out with others in your social circle. One day they're not speaking to Sarah, the next it's Tom. You try to be supportive, but soon find yourself caught in the middle, indirectly dragged into their feuds. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize peace of mind and emotional stability. How do you maintain that tranquility when you're caught in someone else's storm? 1. Reflective listening. Instead of getting swept up in their drama, practice reflective listening. This technique involves mirroring their words without offering advice or taking sides. For instance, if they say, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you can respond with, "It sounds like you feel betrayed by Sarah's words." This allows you to be empathetic without becoming embroiled in the drama. 2. Selective unavailability. Sometimes the most effective strategy is to set boundaries by being unavailable. The Stoics valued their time highly, knowing that peace of mind and wisdom required periods of solitude and focus. Turn off your phone. Create periods where you're fully engaged in personal development or work, and let it be known that you're not to be disturbed during these times. Seneca reminds us, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Instead of being consumed by the constant anxiety of what crisis might emerge next, concentrate on the present where you have control. Cultivate your own life's calm, steering your ship away from whirlpools of unnecessary drama and toward the shores of personal growth and tranquility. Avoid number 3, the naysayer. Imagine you're an artist painting a canvas that represents your dreams and aspirations. Every brushstroke adds depth and color to your vision. Then along comes the naysayer, a person who seems determined to critique every detail. "Are you sure about that color? That doesn't look realistic. Most artists never succeed, you know." Their words, like dull strokes of gray paint, slowly erode the vibrant image you were creating. Constructive criticism can be invaluable, but what distinguishes a naysayer is their persistent negativity and doubt. They're not providing feedback to help you improve. They're projecting their own fears and insecurities onto your work. Picture this. You've decided to embark on a new career path. You've done the research, taken courses, and are brimming with excitement. But when you share your enthusiasm with a naysayer, they respond with skepticism. "The market is too competitive. Do you even have the skills? What if you fail?" Slowly, their doubts seep into your own thoughts, and you begin to second-guess your decisions. To deal with a naysayer, especially one who may be close to you, consider these approaches. 1. Seek their advice. An unconventional yet effective strategy is to ask for their advice rather than just sharing your plans. When people are put in an advisory role, they're more inclined to offer constructive feedback rather than blanket negativity. Shifting the conversation this way often redirects their critical energy into more helpful suggestions. 2. Positive confrontation. Another approach is to challenge their negativity by asking them to propose solutions. If they say, "You'll never succeed in that industry," counter with, "That's an interesting perspective. How do you think someone could successfully navigate this career change?" This tactic not only shifts the conversation, but also pushes them toward a more solution-oriented mindset. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This wisdom encourages us to listen carefully, not to absorb negativity, but to discern what is useful and filter out what isn't. When faced with naysayers who attempt to cloud your canvas with their shades of doubt, step back, reflect, and continue painting your life with the colors that resonate with your authentic self. Don't allow anyone to turn your vibrant masterpiece into a dull, lifeless gray. Avoid number 4. The victim. Life is like a game of chess where each player has the same pieces and the same goal: checkmate the opponent's king. Strategic thinking, risk-taking, and sacrifices are all part of the game, but the victim plays differently. Instead of considering their own moves, they blame the board, the pieces, or even their opponent for every misstep. To them, they're perpetually stuck in checkmate, not because of their choices, but because of forces beyond their control. The victim's narrative is a relentless tale of misfortune, where they are always the helpless protagonist. I can't advance in my career because my boss hates me. I can't get fit because I have bad genetics. While it's true that some people face genuine hardships, the type of victim we're discussing uses their circumstances as an excuse to avoid taking responsibility or action. You might find yourself cast as a supporting character in their ongoing saga, constantly playing the role of the rescuer. Let's say you have a friend who endlessly complains about failed relationships, always blaming their ex-partners without reflecting on their own role. Not only does this drain your time, but it can also subtly influence you to adopt a similar victim mentality in your own life. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what is within our control and to accept what isn't with grace and equanimity. The victim's mindset is the antithesis of this teaching, as they surrender all control to external factors. How can you interact with someone who perpetuates the victim narrative without becoming entangled in their web of excuses? 1. Shift the focus to solutions. The next time they present a problem, gently steer the conversation toward possible solutions. For instance, if they say, "I can't find a good job because the market is terrible," respond with, "I hear you. But what are some things you can do right now to improve your chances?" This nudge toward action can gradually encourage them to take ownership of their circumstances. 2. Encourage self-reflection. Rather than offering immediate sympathy or advice, ask them to reflect on their role in the situation. Questions like, "What do you think you could have done differently?" or "How do you plan to handle this next time?" can be powerful prompts for self-awareness. They may resist initially, but over time, these questions can plant seeds for a more proactive mindset. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles are not excuses for inaction. They are opportunities for growth and resilience. By disengaging from the victim narrative and encouraging personal responsibility, you remain aligned with the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within your control. Don't allow someone else's defeatist outlook to limit your growth. Life may be a chess game full of challenges, but with the right mindset, every obstacle becomes a strategic move toward victory. Avoid number 5, the manipulator. In the complex dynamics of relationships, manipulators are like master chess players, always planning several moves to achieve their desired outcome. Their strategies can be subtle or overt, but their goal is consistent: to bend your actions, emotions, or decisions to serve their interests. Whether they deploy flattery, guilt-tripping, or selective honesty, they see interactions as opportunities to control rather than connect. You may have encountered a manipulator who says things like, "I thought you were different from everyone else. I guess I was wrong," after you disagree with them. Or perhaps they downplay your concerns by saying, "You're overreacting, it's not that big of a deal." These tactics are designed to destabilize your self-assurance and push you into compliance with their agenda. Imagine a colleague who always seems to get others to take on their responsibilities. They might use a mix of charm and feigned helplessness to convince you to do their work. Initially, you may feel good about helping out, but over time, it becomes clear that their requests are not occasional favors, but a calculated strategy. In Stoic philosophy, self-mastery and autonomy are key virtues. Manipulators seek to undermine these by distorting your perception of what's fair, just, and reasonable. How do you counteract such behavior while maintaining your Stoic principles? 1. Identify their patterns. The first step is awareness. Manipulators often repeat specific behaviors, whether it's gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or flattering you into compliance. By recognizing these patterns, you're less likely to be caught off guard. 2. Set firm boundaries. Stoics emphasize the importance of clear principles and boundaries in guiding our actions. Once you detect manipulation, set clear limits on what you're willing to tolerate. For instance, if they habitually guilt-trip you into working late, firmly state that your time is non-negotiable. 3. Neutral responses. Manipulators thrive on emotional reactions. By remaining calm and giving neutral responses, you deny them the emotional leverage they seek. If they say something like, "I guess you just don't care," a simple measured response such as, "I care, but I also have other commitments," is often enough to diffuse their strategy. As Seneca wisely observed, "He who is brave is free." Freedom in this context doesn't just mean physical autonomy, it's freedom from the influence of those who seek to control us through subtle tactics. By cultivating inner clarity and setting firm boundaries, you can navigate interactions with manipulators without compromising your values or your peace of mind. Avoid number 6. The gossip. Gossip is like a spark that, once ignited, can quickly spread into a wildfire of rumors, judgments, and assumptions. Engaging with gossip might seem harmless at first, perhaps even entertaining, but it gradually poisons the well of trust and integrity within any relationship or community. From a Stoic standpoint, gossip is a distraction from the pursuit of virtue and wisdom. It draws attention away from self-improvement and instead focuses on the faults and shortcomings of others. You might find yourself in situations where gossip is presented as a form of bonding. A co-worker leans in and whispers, "Did you hear what happened with Jane in accounting?" At first, it feels like an opportunity to be in the know, but this kind of talk erodes both your moral character and the quality of your relationships. Participation in gossip is a subtle yet corrosive act that compromises your integrity, making you complicit in spreading negativity. How can you maintain your values when faced with gossip, especially in social or work settings where it might seem unavoidable? 1. Shift the conversation. Instead of engaging in gossip, subtly change the subject to something more positive or constructive. If someone says, "I can't believe what so-and-so did," you might respond with, "That's interesting. Have you seen the latest developments on our project?" By redirecting the conversation, you steer away from negativity without directly confronting the gossiper. 2. Opt out. Politely. If the gossip is persistent, a more direct approach may be necessary. Politely excusing yourself or simply saying, "I prefer not to discuss others when they're not here," can set a clear boundary. It might feel awkward, but it's a small price to pay for maintaining your integrity. 3. Lead by example. Often people gossip out of habit or because they think it's expected. By consistently steering clear of such discussions and focusing on positive, uplifting topics, you set a standard that others may follow. Over time, you might notice that people engage with you differently, recognizing that you're not one to indulge in idle talk about others. As Marcus Aurelius stated, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In the context of gossip, this advice is especially relevant. Rather than critiquing the flaws of others behind their backs, Focus on your own growth and how you can contribute positively to your community. Let your actions and words reflect the virtues you aim to embody, and you'll naturally gravitate toward relationships that are more meaningful and constructive. Avoid number 7. The envious envy is a silent, corrosive emotion that can strain even the closest of relationships. It's the subtle look of resentment when you share success, the backhanded compliment that's laced with bitterness, or the constant comparison that seems to overshadow genuine celebration of each other's wins. From a Stoic perspective, envy is irrational, rooted in external comparisons that divert our focus from our own growth and potential. Picture a scenario where you achieve a significant milestone, perhaps a promotion at work or recognition for a personal project. Instead of congratulations, you sense tension from a friend who downplays your achievement or shifts the conversation back to themselves. The envious person struggles with another's success because it highlights what they perceive as their own shortcomings. Stoicism encourages us to practice sympathia, a sense of connection and shared humanity. However, this doesn't mean we must subject ourselves to the toxic energy of envy. Instead, we should protect our peace by recognizing and managing these dynamics wisely. Here's how to navigate relationships with envious individuals. 1. Don't dim your light. It can be tempting to downplay your achievements to avoid making others uncomfortable. However, shrinking to accommodate someone else's insecurities only stifles your own growth. Instead, celebrate your successes unapologetically while maintaining humility and graciousness. 2. Offer genuine support. Envious individuals often struggle because they feel inadequate in their own pursuits. Offering sincere encouragement and advice can sometimes help shift their perspective. For instance, if they express envy over your success, you might say, "I'm really proud of this achievement, but I know you have strengths and talents that are equally impressive." This reframes the conversation toward mutual support rather than competition. 3. Distance when necessary. If envy becomes persistent and begins affecting your well-being, it might be time to distance yourself. Stoics teach us to prioritize inner tranquility, and that sometimes requires letting go of relationships that bring more harm than good. It's better to have fewer connections that are positive and supportive than to maintain ties that drain your energy. Seneca reminds us, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This highlights that envy stems from a mindset of lack rather than abundance. By focusing on gratitude and fostering relationships with those who uplift and inspire you, you create a life rich in joy and fulfillment, free from the toxic influence of envy. Avoid number 8. The hypocrite. Hypocrisy is an insidious trait that erodes trust and fosters disillusionment. Hypocrites preach one set of values while secretly practicing the opposite, creating a gap between their words and actions. Stoicism emphasizes consistency between thought, speech, and deed, making the hypocrite's behavior particularly harmful from a philosophical standpoint. You may encounter a hypocrite who loudly advocates for honesty and integrity, yet is quick to deceive others when it serves their interests. Perhaps they criticize others for the behavior they indulge in. This double standard can create confusion and mistrust within relationships, as it becomes difficult to discern where they truly stand. In one example, a leader in a workplace might publicly emphasize the importance of teamwork and transparency, yet privately engage in backdoor deals or unfair practices. This creates a culture of distrust, where people begin to doubt whether the stated values are genuine or just a facade. Here's how to deal with hypocrites while staying true to your Stoic principles. 1. Lead by example. The best way to counteract hypocrisy is to practice what you preach. By embodying your values consistently, you set a standard that others can follow. Even if the hypocrite doesn't change, those around you will notice your integrity and may begin to emulate your behavior. 2. Address the contradiction. Calmly. If you're in a position where addressing hypocrisy is necessary, do so calmly and factually. Point out the discrepancy between their words and actions without resorting to emotional arguments or accusations. For instance, you might say, "I've noticed that you often emphasize transparency, but there seems to be some confusion about recent decisions that were made privately. Can we clarify this?" 3. Distance from inconsistent values. Hypocrites create an environment where trust is undermined. If this behavior becomes a pattern, consider distancing yourself from the person or organization. Surround yourself with people who share and practice the values you hold dear. As Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This principle cuts through hypocrisy by urging us to live our values daily rather than simply talking about them. By focusing on aligning your actions with your beliefs, you naturally avoid the pitfalls of hypocrisy and cultivate relationships rooted in genuine trust and integrity. Avoid number 9, the drama seeker. Some individuals seem to thrive on chaos and conflict, stirring up drama wherever they go, whether it's blowing minor issues out of proportion, spreading rumors, or creating divisions between people. Drama seekers inject unnecessary stress and negativity into any environment they're in. From a Stoic perspective, these individuals are distractions from the pursuit of tranquility and self-mastery. A drama seeker might turn a small disagreement into a full-blown argument or consistently involve others in their personal conflicts, expecting you to pick sides. Engaging with them often results in wasted time, drained energy, and heightened stress. Consider a situation where a colleague constantly gossips about minor workplace issues or creates tension between team members over trivial matters. Their behavior distracts everyone from productive work and creates a toxic atmosphere. Stoicism teaches that external events and behaviors are outside our control, and drama seekers are a perfect example of this principle. Here's how to navigate interactions with drama seekers. 1. Stay detached. When faced with someone who thrives on drama, the Stoic approach is to remain detached. Don't allow yourself to be pulled into their emotional turmoil. Respond to their provocations with calm and neutrality, refusing to escalate the situation. 2. Set clear boundaries. Make it known that you don't engage in drama or gossip. If someone tries to involve you in unnecessary conflicts, politely decline and steer the conversation back to more constructive topics. For example, if they try to gossip, you can say, "I prefer to focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems." 3. Protect your peace. Recognize that drama seekers often feed on attention. By not giving them the reaction they seek, you starve the cycle of drama. Prioritize your peace and focus on what truly matters, letting go of the noise that these individuals try to create. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In dealing with drama seekers, this wisdom is invaluable. By focusing on your internal state and refusing to be swayed by external chaos, you maintain your inner peace and avoid being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Avoid number 10. The self-centered individuals see the world through the lens of their own desires, needs, and ambitions, often at the expense of others. They expect everything to revolve around them, demanding constant attention, praise, or support, while giving little in return. Stoicism teaches us to be of service to others and to act in ways that benefit the greater good, making the self-centered person's worldview fundamentally opposed to Stoic values. Imagine a friend who constantly talks about their own successes, challenges, and plans, but rarely shows interest in your life. When you need support, they may be unavailable or uninterested, yet they expect you to be there for them unconditionally. Over time, these one-sided relationships become draining and unsatisfying. Here's how to manage relationships with self-centered individuals. 1. Balance generosity with self-respect. While it's virtuous to be kind and supportive, it's also important to set limits. If someone consistently takes without giving, you're not obligated to always be available at the expense of your own well-being. Decide how much time and energy you're willing to invest and stick to those boundaries. 2. Communicate your needs. Self-centered people may be unaware of how their behavior affects others. Sometimes, a direct conversation about how you feel can prompt them to adjust their behavior. For instance, you might say, "I value our friendship, but I'd appreciate it if we could have more balanced conversations where we both share and listen." 3. Seek mutual connections. Cultivate relationships with people who value reciprocity and mutual respect. Surrounding yourself with those who understand that relationships are a two-way street ensures that you are not constantly giving without receiving. Seneca wisely observed, "There is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable unless one has someone to share it with." In other words, relationships are most fulfilling when they involve genuine give and take, where both parties feel valued and respected. By prioritizing relationships with those who appreciate and reciprocate your kindness, you build a support network that enriches both your life and theirs. By avoiding these types of people, you safeguard your emotional well-being and align yourself with the principles of Stoicism. Remember that each interaction is an opportunity to practice virtue, whether it's patience, humility, or wisdom. As you cultivate relationships with those who share and respect your values, you will find yourself surrounded by connections that are not only meaningful, but also conducive to your growth as a person.